Okay, I guess we're going to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock on February 18th, 2020. Take a quick roll call. Brendan Edelman, Richard Sullivan here, Cliff Crowley. So that means Thelma Lavoie is not present, and Yale is not present, and Jordan Cook. And Nate Stacy. So that means Cliff, an alternate, will be voting tonight. We have a few things to vote on, a few SPRs for completeness, and a couple of draft warrant articles. So if you want to start with the minutes, I don't know if you've had a chance to go over them. So yourself, Cliff, did you
Make a motion to accept it.
I second. All those in favor? All right, minutes accepted from the January 21st meeting. So the February 4th public hearing, make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second that.
All those in favor? All right, so minutes accepted for the public hearing, February 4th. Let's start with the Armington SPR.
Should you start with what's, we have to go in the order?
Well, McGuire's not here, so we're gonna put that at the bottom of the list. So, I don't know if you had a chance to flip through it at all. So we need to discuss, jurisdiction, I think, is where we start.
This is just a letter, and I called him to tell him I was going to give him that, so he was informed.
This is a letter from, okay, yes, right.
If you
This
could
came,
pass it to William.
this was an abutter.
Yeah, I
Yes,
just wanted him to
I
have a
did
copy
have
of
a
it.
chance.
So
Is
he-
this whole thing, all of it goes to him?
Yeah, thank you.
Ray, I was thinking maybe we should go through and just look at it, make sure you've got a complete application.
Okay, yeah,
And then we can discuss like what, you know, we got to find out, without Jesse here, I mean, we got to find out exactly why,
right,
what we're looking at, but I think we can still decide.
right, yeah, sure. Is there, so to start, Mr. Armington, is there anything you want, not that you're obligated to, anything you want to say to start with?
Not that, no.
You're not obligated to, I just didn't know if you had something you wanted to tell us. Okay, so we're gonna go over this, make sure, for completeness, but again, we still have to, in my estimation, determine our jurisdiction of this application, because, you know, I'm a little confused as far as a homestead goes. We've discussed this, a homestead is allowable everywhere, right? But
What is it? Yeah, I mean, it's a colloquial term, I mean, it's.
So in essence, I think this came before us because of the land use in village residential with the animals.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say, like, why are you here?
Well,
in your words, why are you here?
I'm here because I was told I need to be here by Jesse,
Okay.
and
Because
of my animals.
Okay.
Is what my understanding was.
Okay.
I understand that Parsonsville doesn't necessarily have. I don't know why he felt it was necessary that I come before you.
He wasn't like clear on, you know.
It was unclear. He told me to pick from a couple of categories, but I was like, well, I got goats and I got a horse and a donkey. He's like, well, you're running stables? I was like, well, I'm not running stables. I got a horse and a donkey, and I got
Right.
a shelter for them, and then I've got goats. And I don't know.
I mean, but obviously, I mean, it sounds like, from what I gather, looking at this, there's been some friction with neighbors.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm guessing that stems from animals. Or
I mean, there's been some friction with neighbors. Yeah.
Part with animals. I mean, but have animals been part of that? Animals at large, anything like that? Yeah.
They've gotten out a couple of times, but I've lived there for 2 years,
Yeah.
and that happened mostly within the first year.
Yeah.
And I've gotten it nailed down pretty good since then.
Well, I've had everything from sheep to goats.
Oh, yeah,
to
I've been there
yeah,
myself.
a lot of pigs and guinea hens in my backyard. Never mind. What's that?
I know.
Yeah, they can be elusive if they want to be.
So,
I mean, I was looking at this a little bit, and I guess without hearing, I wish Jesse was.
we can give him a call. I think he said he would be available.
Right, but I mean, can we still for
Yeah.
tonight, vote whether or not the application's complete, right?
Sure.
I don't know, can we, without deciding whether or not it's even within our purview?
I mean, we could, right? We did it before.
So I was looking at a few of the definitions earlier, but, I mean, yeah, the homestead is just a term that people use, and it means a lot of different things, so there's no, like, and the only definition I've ever seen for one is under the state tax codes, and that's where homestead exemption, which basically means if it's your primary house and you live there, then it's a homestead. So,
Well, so if I'm gonna start, work my way,
but, so, sorry, can I,
No, no, yeah,
I did, I wanted to show you where I got to.
Right.
So, moving from that, I mean, if there was an issue, again, like, there are definitions in here about, you know, in our ordinance relating to like what you can and can't, or what, well, what, not what you can and can't do, but what various activities mean. So the only thing I can think of, I mean, you know, if he said he had to pick a category, you know, like the animals themselves, as long as you're, I mean, if you're selling them or something like that, it's a commercial process, well, then there might be something in here. But if you're not, and they're for you, then there are two things, there's barn and stable. And those actually do, again, I'm just looking through, they do fall, they're under a land use.
what do you mean?
Under the table, look under the table.
Oh, I see, yeah, stables
They
and
are
all,
tenants, yeah.
Yeah,
village
But
residential.
because they're kind of outside.
so it would require a site plan review. And if you look at what a barn is, basically, barns are for any shelter, any livestock, stable specific for us. In our definitions.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't know what else it is we would be looking at. Right?
So when it says barns and stables, is that the
Yeah.
construction of a barn
I
and
don't
stable?
know, I mean, there's already one
I
there.
mean, the use of a barn and stable, or the construction of a barn and stable?
So I built the pole barn with the express, desire to put my horse and donkey in it.
Mhm.
When I built it, I told Bauer that when I put it up, and he didn't seem to have an issue with that.
Right.
So I mean, at the time, he was in charge of all,
Yeah,
he was the COE.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of puts me in a pickle now, because
Yeah.
I feel like he should have told me then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, that's why I was, we need like.
So you're right, so again, I don't even know what, I mean, if it is the barn or stable land use that got him here, so if we're looking at village residential, what's gonna get him here? It's gonna be barns and stables, or it's gonna be animal breeding, those require site plan.
Animal breeding's commercial.
Right, and it's not a commercial operation, huh?
And he's made it very
No.
clear that it's for this is for food, so.
Right,
Well, and we can't even take ourselves to killing of our goats right now, so
right.
we can't even.
How
Or
many goats-
chickens.
How many goats do you have?
13 goats.
So,
So
it's a number.
there are setbacks and other things that, I'm sure, I think Jesse would have worked with that, setbacks from, the property line as far as, the pole barn and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't see any of that in the application, so I think if we were to say that we had jurisdiction over this application and we were going to entertain it, I would have to say it's not complete because we would need a few other things, but I'm not even convinced that we have jurisdiction over this.
how many acres is your lot again?
It's 6 acres.
Right.
I mean, I'm backing into that, it was a stretch, I'm just trying to show you, like, I don't know, because, nobody, I can see what happened, obviously I can kind of tell how we got here, obviously there was some friction, and, and you want to make sure you're, all set.
I don't
And it
want to
sound-
be.
Yeah, and it sounds like you got permits issued for his buildings, I just, if Jesse's telling him he has to have a change of use, I kind of want to know what for.
Right.
I want to, because homestead, you don't need to.
So have you been, at this point, have you had to cease anything, or is it just a matter of, okay, we're gonna try to figure out how to proceed in the future? Have you been told your animals need to go, or any of this, or are you kind of,
No.
you're sort of in a holding pattern right now, waiting to see how to move forward?
Yeah, so Jesse told me as long as I put this into you guys,
Right,
that
right.
he wouldn't enact the town to.
He just, I think he, Jesse's trying to, like, you're trying to, in his mind, if there's somebody that's out of, compliance with our ordinance or something, he's trying to, find a way for them to be in
Right,
compliance.
right, right.
That's what it sounds like, without like a really clear direction as to what it is, you need to.
So look, I can make this suggestion, if as of now, your homestead has not been infringed on, right? We could, in essence, table this application until we get up with Jesse and find out specifically what brought this here, because Brendan made a good point, barns and stables is probably the only thing that I see.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to like think, read someone else's mind, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't.
Part.
Is this village or rural?
village residential.
That's probably a problem. That is.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, that's why it comes to us for site plan review, because it is village
Yeah.
residential, but it's not expressly prohibited though, you know, so this is the thing, you know, and, so we had, Andy weighed in with an email, and he basically said to me that in his opinion, a homestead is allowable in that zone. It looks to be a public nuisance issue where, you know, good fences might prevent any further problems. And that was just his opinion from afar. He's traveling right now, but he's keeping up with some emails, so.
Yeah,
And that's what I can glean from all this, is, you know, it's got,
Yeah,
you know, and I don't see.
So,
I mean, I know it does sound like a lot of goats, and, but it's not a business with it.
5 acres is pushing it for that many goats, but ultimately it comes down to how good a neighbor you are. And it hasn't worked for this one person out there.
yes, yeah.
So you have to figure out how it's gonna work for them, so they're not calling Jesse over every other day or every week. Because goats who get eating my flowers, the goats are all over the place. If that keeps happening,
Yeah.
well, we have to do something.
Well,
we have
don't-
to
the
do
code
Jesse,
enforcement.
we don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But, so that would be my suggestion at this point. I mean, we could vote on this application, but I
I
would,
said, is it, well,
I would suggest we table it for now until we, Jesse said he will be here at the next meeting. We can speak to him specifically and find out, you know, how, I mean, that's a guess on my part. Stables and barns are the only thing. And if that is the case, then we're gonna need maybe some, sketch plan of, you know, with the setback from the pole barn to the,
I would say,
yeah.
just kind of put that together just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and- yeah.
so,
I mean,
I
it's
don't know,
kinda-
Cliff,
it's
what do you
kinda
think?
on
I would make a motion to
we
table.
can table it, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm gonna make a motion to table the application. All those in favor? Or I guess somebody should second it
Second,
first.
sorry, I second.
All those in favor? All right, so the application is tabled until the next meeting.
So, and so if I should be prepared with setbacks from
For, now this,
borders?
yes, from the property lines. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just a sketch plan of the layout of where the animals are in relation to the abutters.
Okay, yeah,
Something like that would go a long way.
alright, yeah.
May I ask a question,
Absolutely.
just out of curiosity? I don't even know this fellow, but I'm just curious, how does that house on Elm Street that is turned into a junkyard
Yeah.
been able to get away with
I don't, you know, I've heard a lot about that house.
what they're doing compared to a 5-acre lot that's just looking to have a few animals on
Yeah,
it?
I don't know. We don't enforce, we don't have any.
2 acres and I have 2 goats, so they come, I thought they were pets.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the house on Elm Street and I don't know what to say about it.
Well, I'm just saying because.
We don't deal with
I don't
enforcement.
do anything.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying, we don't.
Yeah, the small.
So,
I'm just
brings it,
curious
you know what
how
I mean?
that.
I think we all have the same question.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
how do they get away with doing what they're doing, and this guy's just wants a few goats, you know?
Well,
It's like
they're
6 acres.
Well,
And again,
it's
like,
okay if the neighbors are having all
Yeah,
their
maybe,
stuff
maybe the
destroyed.
neighbors haven't complained.
That's
And
the problem.
You know, I just want to be really clear though.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't about deciding about whether or not he can have animals
Well,
or how many
no, I
goats
was
he
just
gets to have or what it's just, we're just trying to do our part, comes in front of us, we gotta see what box this fits in,
Yeah, right.
if any
Yeah, I was
box.
just curious
Yeah.
how that all plays
I
out.
hope you understand that, Will, like.
Yes,
like,
no, I understand,
oh,
yes.
you had how many goats?
Yeah.
I only
You
have
can have,
I'm
it just,
thinking if I only
Yeah,
had 2
wanna make
acres,
sure
I
that-
get 2
yeah,
we're doing
goats,
it
if I
right.
had 6.
So I would say, if you can come to the next meeting,
Yeah.
I guess we would have you on the agenda for the next meeting. I'll speak to Jesse and have him here, and then I think we could come to some remedy at that.
Yeah, and I can modify.
Does your neighbor live there year round?
The neighbor, I
That-
don't
that-
know who
that-
has the issue.
You don't know who has the issue, come on.
No,
How could you not know? She sent a letter,
Well-
she talked to you guys about it, you said
So
you.
Well, we-
Clifford's talking about the letter I just gave you, you
Oh,
probably
this
haven't
letter.
read yet,
I have
And
not
then-
had a
He
chance.
just
and you're
received it.
talking
He hasn't
about
read it.
I haven't read
neighbor
it.
in the back
Just
lot.
got it. I just.
No, and so,
I would suggest maybe even bringing that neighbor with you,
yes, I will.
and maybe it could be worked out.
This is, I just read, I think this is from June?
Is it June or
Yeah,
Judith?
yes. So yeah, I could talk to this neighbor, I know, I understand her concerns.
Yeah, that
They
was,
did get out in the first year and they ate, and I tried to repay her, and
No, I understand. So the thing
Yeah.
to do is if you now have some kind of a history that's improving with them, if
Yeah.
you do, you should be able to say, listen, I'm here, I'm going into the planning board, I'd like you to come with me. Let's remedy this so we are even keel. And
Not that you have to bring her, if she doesn't wanna come.
I think it would make things easier for her in the long run.
yeah,
Because she would be in agreement with whatever the CEO thought.
Yeah.
And us.
Yeah.
It would make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Especially if you're improving that relationship with your animals.
yeah, certainly try my best.
Alright, so you're good, Mr. Armington,
All right.
you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you
Yeah,
want.
and the next meeting would be on the agenda with him anyway, so we have either voted one way or another on the application.
So that'd be the third
Yes, next month, March,
17th.
17th.
March 17th, that's perfect. Awesome. I'm gonna sit here and read this.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Alright, so we'll move on to the site plan review for, the Redemption Center. Okay, so, this one looks pretty thorough in here. And what I see is a house right next to.
I think that area is zoned village commercial and residential, everything. It's all.
Yep, there's no difference.
Now, again, we're just looking for completion, but I did get a chance to speak to Jesse. He just mentioned something about the, it's a non-conforming house, it's 11 feet from the property line, I think is what he said. That's all he said.
He did tell me to pass on that the building itself sits inside the setback. The setback's 10 feet, but it's.
Okay, alright,
I mean,
right.
So it is inside the setbacks.
Yeah, it's like, that's what he told me.
It's
It's in the setback.
It complies.
No,
it doesn't
I
comply.
meant physically inside.
Okay,
Right.
it violates the setback.
So,
Yeah.
okay, it would probably need some type of waiver. But again, we're not there, we're just looking for completion, so.
Can you repeat what Jesse's concern was, please?
The setback on the house from the property line. He just mentioned it when I saw him in passing. We didn't get a chance to really discuss anything in detail, so that's all I got. It was the setback on the house from the property line.
So which property line?
I guess the abutting property line. He didn't say specifically, but whatever
Yeah, I'm trying to
the abutter would be.
I think, and I talked to him before the meeting, cause he wasn't sure if he was gonna meet up with you or not.
Right.
But it was, the building itself sits inside the setback. Like,
Which line do we know, which property?
on the, if the road Wadley Street, so on the map, it would be on the left side. So the rear of the building
So against 37.
is supposed to be set back 10 feet from the property line on the side. But I guess it's not, it's like right up to the property line. Well, I say that according to, he looked at the map, the sketch map that you gave us. So,
And I guess that would be discussed more at a future date, because again, we're just looking to make sure the application completes tonight.
Okay.
No, plenty of discussion, of course. Coming down, wish they were all this. So, look through it, in my opinion, it's complete.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's missing.
Work through figuring that out. All right, so, again, in my opinion, it's complete. Do you have any concerns, or? I mean, there's plenty to discuss about it, but, you know.
Concern that the CEO wasn't correct.
Well, he was here, he was here earlier. I discussed some of this with him. He had to go,
But
and
as
I pretty
far
much
as
told him.
it being complete.
Yeah, I told him he didn't need to be here.
Yeah,
so-
it's complete.
But he will be here for the next one. We have plenty of discussion to do on this and the other one, so the CEO will be here for that. So I make a motion to accept the application as complete.
A second that.
All those in favor? All right. So the application is complete. So that means we'll see you at the next meeting for a review. We should have the full board here too. And we can take it from there.
Next meeting is?
The next meeting is March 17th. And then at that point, you know, we'll review the application, probably have to schedule a public hearing.
We can do a site walk.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll have to do a sidewalk too. Okay, so we'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank
Any
you.
questions, or, I mean?
Yeah, I'm
pretty
sorry,
much that's-
I should have asked.
Yeah.
We're not shooing you out of here. Any
No,
questions?
I think I'm good. I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have one more site plan review. It's Terry McGuire, 32, I'm sorry, this is 155 Road Between the Ponds. I had a chance to go over it, it looks,
It's complete.
yeah, to me it looks complete, it doesn't look like there's a hole out there. Did you have a chance to go over that?
Yeah, well, I noticed that they were asking two things here. The first thing was pretty obvious, they wanted to fill in the back deck, put it in. Second thing was to do septic. Oh yeah, that was part of this.
That was
No,
put
that's
on the
just,
sketch
that's
map.
just the, it's just the existing set, it's just showing the existing. It's part of the plan.
I guess he submitted it because it is requested to see.
Oh, it's not gonna be
Yeah,
replaced?
no, he's just showing it's part of the plan, no, he just, all he wants to do is get in his words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a question about the actual, deeded lines and locations. And it says clearly, no, brick associates are not surveyors. Side property lines shown as pointed out by the owner. All property lines should be verified prior to installation to ensure holding tank is installed. Did you see what I'm talking about here? Holding tank is installed. This is also a request for a new septic system.
He has a septic system there.
Well, why,
It's
well,
existing.
wait, then why is this, all property lines should be verified prior to installation to ensure a holding tank is installed.
Yeah, that's because that's part of that's the language that's on the design. It's a copy of his design.
It
I
didn't
think he
sound
was
that
just
way
trying
to
to
me.
show
It
you
sounded
guys
like
the
they wanted to
layout
put
of
it
like
in
the
in
house and where
2010.
things are
Look,
relevant.
So the nature of the proposed use is just enclosing this, I mean, he's not asking to do the septic in the request here. So although it's submitted here, I think it's just a matter of being thorough on the
He's showing
submission.
where it's.
Yeah, I think if he were to request it here, then we might have concerns.
This is a
but-
copy, this is the standard copy of a subsurface wastewater design. Doesn't matter who you hire, they all look the same language. He's
So-
just showing us that, hey, this is where it was, because it cites it.
Right, so
It's relative
I
to
do
his
believe it would have to be
Yeah.
under, or your request up here, so you can feel safe and that wouldn't be a problem.
I also, on some of the original maps I was looking at when we first started it in email, it looked to me like his property line ended at the house in the back.
I think because he's so close to the water. Is that
So,
is that
what
he's not extended beyond the house.
My concern is if you're closing in that extra 5 feet beyond the building.
No, it already exists. There's
No,
already.
I understand there's a deck there.
Yeah.
But if the property line actually ends at the house, and
not-
he enclosed, and
You're
the
saying
deck,
ends
so,
at the house,
so,
not the deck.
correct, then we're adding,
Well, no,
So-
he can, that's the whole thing, it's like none of those houses can.
So, hold on, what,
But,
correct.
and they can still, and they're still able to
but
increase
we're talking about
like
it
60%.
we're talking about in shoreland here. I don't think
First
we
off,
have that flexibility in shoreland, where he's adding 5 feet
Hold on.
onto his house.
Jesse did
No, he's-
mention
no,
some
no, no.
stuff, Rick.
What?
Jesse did mention some stuff, like I said, he wasn't sure if he was gonna meet with you. He said, I guess one of the issues is the eave
That's
that
why I was
goes
saying,
over.
the overhang
You
is the
can't-
problem.
but
That was the
the
only thing I
existing one-
noticed that, yeah.
You have to stay in that building.
Right, that was, this is when we got, this was one of the first questions I have a look at the drawing.
And you
is the
guys are just
overhang.
trying to figure out, is this complete?
It's complete, exactly.
Yeah.
It
But
is
we will
complete.
get to
And-
those
and-
things at
and-
some
And if you read the shoreline zones regulations, so they,
Yeah, so something
they're
about
actually allowed to
extend
do,
up to
they're actually allowed to
30%.
do a lot. Well, even if they don't conform, like 30% they can, I mean, that's why we had to prove that last one, 30%. So the only thing he can't probably do ultimately, and again, we have to talk about it, we should have Jesse here, is he can't go past, he can't extend, that roof overhang, technically, can't go any closer to the water.
It's got to stay.
It has to
even
stay
with the
within-
deck.
So the roof overhang right now.
He doesn't have a roof overhang.
Right.
The proposed, if you look on the drawing, and it doesn't say
So
what it
how
is.
can you add on a closed-in space if the roof is not gonna go past the walls that he has to build?
We don't have to worry about that. And we're
I-
not worried about that tonight, because we have to know what the application is.
No, I
gonna be.
understand,
Yeah.
I understand, I just think that we're being too loosey-goosey with this
Yeah,
on
Jesse
shoreline.
told me you could,
Well, we're
I don't
not,
know
we
what-
haven't approved
what they're-
anything.
I know we have,
But
that's all.
even if we object to the
Just
application.
pointing that out.
Yeah.
And I also wanna know if, I understand what you guys said, but it looked an awful lot like me that they have plans to put in a septic system.
Well, they
He
already
would have to request it here, like, really, if it's not here,
I think
then
he's showing
he
they
can't
already
say,
have
"Oh, put it in the
the
back
existing
again."
yeah, that's my
So I'm
understanding.
secure in that, I'm
I mean-
sure of that,
He
Okay,
He
so.
did give me his phone number, cause he said he wasn't gonna be here,
Right.
so worst case, we can call him.
Well, and again, we would have, that's why, we'd have the,
well, I don't know how he's gonna build that closed-in area without extending the roof a few inches.
We can ask
past it.
him, we can ask him,
We can-
right now, it's like, it looks complete to me, so maybe we'll ask him, there's
No.
concerns you have, you don't think it's complete?
Well, my concern is that back deck, that concrete deck, is over his property.
right, but
And we can discuss
is
those
it complete
concerns,
though?
when the
Is the
application.
application complete? That's what we need
So,
to.
yeah, sometimes we gotta vote for these things when we don't want to, it's complete, but we can discuss it.
Yeah, we're not
I-
accepting it
I-
or approving it, we're just saying whether or not it's complete.
So I don't know, I'll make a motion to accept it as complete.
I second it, I don't see anything missing.
All those in favor? All those opposed? You're opposed? Alright.
He's gotta be here,
Well,
and
he
I
will
think we
be,
need to get
he will
Jesse
be
here.
at the next one, and he will be at the next one too. And I'm
But
sure
that
he will
doesn't,
be,
but that
right?
doesn't change when it's complete, right?
Yeah, and MMA handbook says, applicants aren't required to be at the meetings,
Right,
but if you're gonna get into like substantive discussion, I mean, like next meeting,
sure,
you'll
yeah,
want him here.
it's to their benefit if we have questions for them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come tonight if I were him, because all we really were slated to do Let's decide whether or not the applications.
Yeah.
Just like all these guys, we have all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Right, we do.
We can't,
We have a lot to discuss in this meeting.
but we just,
Okay, so that's done. It was approved as complete.
Yeah.
So now we'll move on to what was next.
Well, there's a public hearing.
yeah, we gotta vote on that.
Okay, so we vote on, alright, so we had,
We wanna approve this
the draft article number 2. We can, I guess I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve draft article number 2 as is.
which is the local food sovereignty.
Indeed.
I second that.
All those in favor? Alright, so it's approved unanimously. Now, we do have some discussion about the
Yeah.
recreational marijuana one, correct? You said that. So, there was a little bit of confusion about the moratorium, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood the moratorium thing, because I went to the workshop for MMA back in August, and it was my understanding you could vote to opt in with a moratorium, which you can.
We've talked about doing numerous
But-
times, yeah.
I guess the moratorium has to be a separate ordinance, so that
Right.
still leaves us with, if we were gonna do it that route, you would be voting to opt in, and then a moratorium would be second, so.
Right.
And then, so they could approve the opt-in, but vote
So-
down the moratorium. The other option that MMA gave me was putting a, effective date, which would still kind of give you guys some room to work with to craft an ordinance. So it's essentially like, hypothetically, you could say, do we want to vote to opt in to recreational marijuana facilities effective, I don't know, September 1st, 2021? And if the town votes yes, then we'll opt in effective that date. So you have that time to craft an ordinance.
But we'd still have to get those passed.
So my,
Right,
my,
but the same idea as before, like if the town weren't to pass them, then you've opted in, it's gonna be allowed.
so if we don't do anything, we end up with the state regulation. Is that
Well-
correct? Is that correct?
I'm a
No.
little confused by the question. Right, so by default, it's not allowed because we haven't made any action on this.
So if we don't do anything,
So
it's
prohibited.
negative. I mean, it's not allowed.
Right.
So we have to physically opt in as a town to allow it.
Right, if we have a vote and the vote turns it down, saying we don't wanna opt in, then it's not allowed.
Right.
But if we do opt in, and we have no zoning, then it's allowed by state reg. So that means like somebody
Okay.
could come in and just pop a building sign.
Right.
So, and then whatever happens in that time frame
Gets
is
grandfathered.
grandfather.
Right.
Because we can't have a stopgap of a
Right.
moratorium unless that's a separate article.
Anything,
That has to pass,
I think
You
the
know.
less we have to, we already went through this and the town came and voted and whatever. And we're gonna do the same baloney again.
No, you don't wanna put in all the
good,
work
in
and
good.
then-
well, I don't wanna do, I don't wanna write a bunch of
I
ordinances,
think
but I also don't
We
wanna
should
be
see
left in a bad
what the state
situation.
regs come down for it. I mean, we won't, once the state sets up rules, we have to go with the state.
They already
and then
have.
we can always,
Right, I mean,
Adjust
they're
and
already
change
there,
it.
they're already set.
well, for licensing requirements, I guess, it just means that, like say someone wanted to put a 20,000 square foot cultivation facility and we opted in yes, but we had no zoning ordinances, they could put that wherever, as long as they meet the dimensional requirements,
I think 15,000 is our
setback
max in town.
requirements.
So for me personally,
Well, yeah,
well,
I
yeah, they
personally-
have ordinances that'll take care of 20,000 square feet. It's commercial,
yeah,
or
I
15,000.
So-
don't know, but
I personally do see the wisdom in a moratorium. I do. I gotta say, maybe before I did. At this point, I do. I think I could personally vote for a moratorium. Although I don't object to the posting the date, but I feel the date,
I mean, either way, we're gonna have to have another public hearing on this.
Yeah,
to
we
kind of
definitely are.
Redrafting the whole thing.
right. So if we opt for the moratorium, I mean, again, I guess we have to put it to a vote to the full board
Well,
too.
and then, so the moratorium, we'll have to get the town attorney to draft an ordinance for the moratorium. The moratorium ordinance has to be like really specific.
It's a big deal declaring a moratorium if you look at MMA.
So you
it's-
think it would be better to just pick a date, like the second option was, to say, we have until September 2021 or something?
Well, I'm just throwing out a random date.
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
But
what I
I'm
mean.
saying, but that means anybody, alright, so, right. That gives, if we do a date, there's no moratorium, it just
There's
gives.
no moratorium, but it's not allowed.
Yeah,
It's
until
not
until
allowed
that
until
time.
that.
Until that date comes,
So
and then
if
if we don't do our duty
I mean,
by
the
that
town
date,
did-
it's.
the town
I'm
did
down with that
vote
because,
already.
I'm down, but,
You
but,
know.
you know,
I know it was kind of a screwed up thing we gave them to vote on, but they did vote. It was killed.
Yeah.
Well, that was from
Well,
medical.
It was medical.
It was medical,
Right
it
now
was
they're
only
doing
like a
recreational.
16 vote difference maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, you never know. I mean,
How much work do we wanna make for ourselves?
I agree.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and-
agree.
yeah, but I don't wanna be in a situation where, you know, we lose our opportunity to.
You can always make it more stringent to whatever the state regs are. You
Right.
can.
Oh, absolutely, but we have to do that before whatever the date is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If it passes, we have to. So yeah, if we do it, if we just do an opt-in, yes or no with a date, I mean, effectively, that's a moratorium.
And if you
But we-
guys-
you know,
You come up with an ordinance and it gets approved, great. If you don't, well, it doesn't restrict anybody, because if the town decides like, yeah, we want this,
Right. Then it's
by that date, they'll
Yeah.
have
state
it.
rate.
I think we could be banging our heads against the wall to try that.
What do you think, Harvey? Anything? Any thoughts on this?
I'd say take as much time as you need.
Yeah. Right. Don't rush it.
I mean, I think what I understood was you guys were kind of frustrated with having to put all the work in, but then to find out the town doesn't want it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the route or the desire was like, let's figure out if the town wants us first.
Right.
But we don't wanna open up to
And-
risk.
yeah, I know, and the thing is, you can look at this, I mean, you can rationalize any argument based off the same data with this stuff. Like, okay, the other stuff was too involved. Okay, well then some people might think they don't have enough choices, because maybe some people will say, well, I'd approve it, but I don't want to approve these things. You don't know, I mean,
Right.
we tried that. I guess the point is, if you look at like where the median is, it's like, well, let's just go yes or no and figure it out.
Right.
I definitely don't want to delay the process, spend all that time and then it doesn't pass.
So the only question we have to answer is, what do we want to do about this, the moratorium, or pick
I say pick a date.
pick a
Because I
date?
think now we're just, I mean, we have to do another.
So what would be reasonable? 6 months, a year? I mean,
6
maybe
months.
6 months. Now,
Well,
is there
and
the
that's-
option to extend it, or once we pick that
No,
date,
you
that's a
can,
hard date?
That's a hard date. So in 6
So a lot to ask
months would,
though to push through a bunch of
Right.
stuff if it passes.
because you're not only creating an ordinance, you gotta get it through the select board, get it voted upon.
Right.
Get the deal.
So a
Maybe,
year?
maybe you can.
I mean, 180 days would have been the initial, which is,
Right, but
Well,
it
we
would
can
have
always
been
wait
able to
till, the
extend it.
Yeah.
next town meeting, put an article in the warrant. Do you wanna,
But we have to figure it out
you
now.
wanna control, you know, and then the article would.
but
be-
we have to figure it out now because we're gonna have to have a public hearing on it, because it's gonna change, you know.
Well, the town meeting is gonna be public hearing.
No.
Wait till the public hearing before it.
Yeah, he needs a specific public hearing about the.
Before the warrant, before the warrant to discuss it.
Yeah, we
And
should
then
have,
we have
Well, in this
to,
one,
and then
the
we have
select
to.
board would more likely do, written ballot, like we did last one,
Right.
just because people, this can be kind of a sensitive issue for
Oh,
some
yeah.
people maybe,
I
but,
think.
Yeah.
so yeah, you definitely have to have a public hearing and
Turn the
then
volume down.
all that stuff.
So I still don't know where we're landing on this.
Well, I think, it sounds like we're landing on, we wanna just pick a date.
Okay.
Right?
So
Or am I wrong?
we're not just gonna pick a date tonight. I think maybe we need to get some input from the rest of the board.
Oh, yeah.
And then say, all right, what kind of date, what time period would we actually need? We don't wanna fall flat on this, right? We don't wanna pick a short date and not be able to do
we
what we
wanna look
can.
at good weather date, good weather date.
Yes.
I also don't wanna
June.
incite the natives and then,
Right.
put it off too far. I mean, it's unfair to
Yeah, no.
people who are waiting, you know?
Indeed.
If it passed. That's the only thing, is if it passes, you know, I would feel obligated to get it together as fast as possible.
That would require some intensive work from us to make
So
sure.
what
that
do we think is, yeah, I mean, we should discuss what we think is reasonable, but it sounds like that's what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Opt in,
Right.
opt in and then do it with a
Then
date.
pick a date
Yeah.
and, go from there. Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we'll,
Birds.
I mean, you know, at the next meeting, Andy should be here, Nate should be here, Thelma should be here. Maybe we can get a little bit of input from them.
Table it and then
As
figure out.
long as the
from there.
weather cooperates.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to make any decision on this tonight. I mean, we can't, we couldn't just, you know, vote on that without any moratorium.
Well,
So I guess at this point, we have
You
to,
can, you're voting on the draft
On the draft,
warrant
right.
article,
So
and
it
then at a public hearing.
Right,
Right.
so I make a motion that we do not use the draft warrant article written as it is.
okay.
Or, okay.
Right,
So-
right, because that's the one thing we can decide, is
Yeah,
it sounds like we're not, because it doesn't work.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can't do it, it's not right. So
And
we
then-
can- that we can decide on, yay.
you'll table it or whatever, table.
Yeah, I guess
discussion.
that's what we'll do. We'll table the application and discuss it. So I make a motion to, or not the application, I'm sorry, the draft article, and then we'll
Who makes a motion?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I'm
just
making a
got it.
motion.
Alright, Brendan.
I
and
second that
Rick.
motion,
Second.
and all those in favor?
Alright,
Alright,
and
That was a
so
little
it'll
messy,
be on
but-
next month's agenda.
yeah. That was a little messy, but.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's,
sorry,
no, I was reading your emails about that the other week, and I was like, yeah.
it's
I was
such a
like,
confusing thing.
oh, I know, because I mean, it's like, we pretty much almost gone there before. This town's talked about moratoriums on this, that, the other thing. Oh, guess what?
No. And it's
Can't, moratorium's another ordinance.
Right.
just another thing to draft.
Yeah, nothing to do.
Okay, the only other thing under other business would be the FOAA packets. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to.
Sign and return.
Good.
Yep, I
You're
just gave
good.
them mine.
And
I
Clifford, do you
haven't
want a
gotten
hard
mine yet.
copy or?
Yeah, let me take the hard copy.
Okay. I just need the last page.
Yeah.
The other thing was, do you guys wanna do like a rollover regular monthly meet, like,
You mean if,
Snow.
snow.
so what does that mean? That we just say the meeting, if the meeting's canceled, the rescheduled date is the workshop, or we pick the next week, or?
Yeah,
Well,
what
we can't
I,
do that, 'cause I mean, some of our agendas are so full, we can't
I know, what
add stuff
I,
onto it.
so I gotta put an ad in the paper or revamp the one that's in there, cause I think it's got a little chopped up at some point, and now it just reads weird stuff. But, so I put regular monthly meetings are third Tuesdays at 7 p.m. If canceled, we'll move to the first Tuesday of the following month. Applications be submitted 15 days in advance. Workshops are scheduled for the first Tuesday of the month if necessary. Check the website if workshop meetings are scheduled. The only issue I could see with this is if you have a workshop and then we get a snow day and the monthly meeting falls on the workshop, and then you kind of have to decide like which meeting are you gonna do first.
Right, I think we could deal with that as it happens.
Yeah.
But I think that would be less likely than what we've had occur over the
At
last.
least post
I
online.
mean, we've just been
like-
getting hammered on Tuesdays with snow like this for the last, I don't know, couple times.
I think it's more as an issue when if it's a public hearing, just because like I said, you can, if it's agenda items and you've got applicants and you talk to them and they're like, no, we wanna come and get it done.
Right.
And
We
this
have,
is-
and everybody's agreement, well, then, fine, but I mean, and if you cancel it, you're putting it off, but when it's a public hearing, that hearing is for the public to come to.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's-
this is just for monthly meetings. Our public hearings, we've been good about scheduling a if canceled date,
Right.
because you guys schedule that anyways, and you can
Right.
always set up an alternate date along with it.
So do we have a workshop scheduled for the, for March?
Well, March, we have a presidential primary election, so yeah, there's nothing,
Oh, on Tuesday, yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
and I believe you can have a meeting, but we have to close the door. and-
I don't think we need any, we don't have any,
Oh,
a workshop. I mean, I don't know if we have a reason. Do you think we have a reason to call a workshop? Cliff?
Not yet.
Right.
So I will make this adjustment in the shopper's guide end under our notices so that if you cancel a monthly meeting, it'll automatically roll over to the first following Tuesday of the following month. If that makes sense.
I see our next meeting is on St. Patrick's Day too. Well, that'll work out.
But is that something you guys are okay with, or?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Any other business, any other concerns, questions, comments?
Maybe we need a workshop to deal with one of our people that's supposed to be on planning.
I don't know, I mean, you know, I don't know if we need to call a workshop for that, right? Like, that would probably be better to be discussed in a meeting if we would discuss that.
Well, maybe we could meet with the selectmen plan, because he's a member of the plan. Maybe
So
we'll
how about we
executive
discuss it, how
session.
about we make it a point to discuss it at the next meeting when we will have a full room. So Andy will be back, I'll make sure that Thelma's here, we'll make sure Nate's here, and then under other business, we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Alright, so can we put that on the
Because
agenda
we're
for,
tentatively under.
discussing Mr. Clifford's position, yeah.
Because I'm tentatively under the impression that he's supposed to be able to come into the building in April.
I don't know.
Well, then we have to deal with that. That's why we have to have a meeting. Can't go like on and on and on and on.
I agree.
Let's put it, so,
I
we've
agree.
got to put it in the workshop, get everybody on board.
So, it's under other business for the March 17th meeting, we'll discuss it. And we should have everybody here.
Hopefully, no snow.
Okay, any questions, Jeff, anything? Anything?
just has to do with that table, it's missing its caps.
Yeah, what, the caps, damn caps on the,
Protective caps is.
Someone will pick up that
Maybe
road.
the select board.
somebody might have needed those at home.
Well, what happens is those tables get put in the gym and then somebody drives the table across the gym floor and it scratches it. I brought it up a few years ago and they did get some caps for the chairs and the tables that were missing caps because they scratched up the chairs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
See the table with the two missing caps?
No, we're not, this isn't the facilities management team.
You know, to make,
Why don't you bring
make
it
the
up
minutes,
so
so.
that- so that the selectmen are aware of it and the assistants are aware of it.
You noted that, to make the minutes.
Just saying,
They
that's
stay
all.
in here, don't they?
For the most part, and I don't know, I mean, we got tables in there and, I mean, they can be moved around, but,
Yeah, they can be. I'm just saying, that's all.
yeah.
It just protects the floors and the carpet, that's all.
Well, look around, maybe we'll find one. Maybe we can
Steal them off
steal
another
one from
table,
a-
take them off a
steal-
few
no, steal
chairs,
one from a
Steve,
chair.
you know, and then
So the
go.
last time I mentioned, they actually had a stand that holds the chairs, and somebody took the caps off that, and a citizen from Parsonsfield scraped his shoulder from the metal, not having a rubber cap. So I brought it up to, said, hey, somebody got injured, and if you had a cap on that, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
So they did get some caps, so just have to get some caps, that's all. Just saying.
Alright, so,
Maybe a
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Citizen can shovel.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I second that.
All those in favor? Alright, meeting adjourned at 8:47.
747.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I missed